KPOA 105.9, the Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Dave Lawrence with you, the Workforce Afternoon. And thank you for being on board. We're lucky during a week of giving away the new Government Mule CD, Deja Voodoo, to be joined by their founder, also from the Allman Brothers Band, and the Dead now, and a buddy for a long time, singer, songwriter, guitarist Warren Haynes. Aloha, brother.
How are you, man?
I'm very good.
Yeah, you digging the Maui thing?
Yeah, well, Oahu. I'm still here. I'm on Oahu, but
yeah.
But I'm very much loving living out here, and
Good. What's happening?
it's a pleasure to welcome you back to the show here. You were on with us last year, and thank you so much for taking more time.
Absolutely.
You're the man. We've really been enjoying the first single from Deja Voodoo, Slackjaw Jezebel. How did you come to decide? You have 12 songs to choose from, and I know you're a meticulous songwriter and craftsman. What was it that led to this? Was it a consensus or your feelings?
As far as it being the first single?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us had a gut feeling about it, myself and Michael Barbiero, our producer, co-producer, engineer, and the record company and management, everybody kind of putting their heads together and feeling out which one seems like would be well received. We're a long-winded band, so we don't have a lot of options. A lot of the songs are too long.
and the vocals on that one have that cool sound that you sometimes use, and I'm just using like layman's terms here. What is that? One of those special mics or whatever it is that gives it that spooky effect? Yeah,
in the old days, what we would do is use like a bullet microphone, like people play harmonica through.
Yeah.
And I would sing through that. Kind of like Howlin' Wolf used to do, or Sonny Boy Williamson. But on a few songs, we've used that effect and just created it in the studio. On Slackjaw Jezebel, I just ran the vocal into an amplifier. And so it just has that old, nasty, spooky, bluesy sound.
And then you mic the amp.
Yeah.
And that's how you get your vocal track.
Yeah, and it's a long way from clean. It's nowhere close to state of the art. It's got that lo-fi sound that people had in the early days of rock and roll.
Yeah, no, that is so cool the way you've described it. So again, the lead vocal on Slackjaw Jezebel is recorded with like a regular studio mic, and then run through a guitar amp, and then that's mic'd, and that's what ends up on the record.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, and that's not a common practice for folks to do in the studio, is it, Warren?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, some of the modern bands are doing it because they heard Led Zeppelin do it or something like that, or some bands heard the Government Mule song "Blind Man in the Dark" where we did that. But some of these modern bands are doing it, but they're doing it in a different way. They're doing it like with computers and programmed sounds and stuff, where we went back to the old school of just plugging it straight into the amp.
That's cool, and different than that bullet mic thing you explained, which was your other
which
way.
I've used in the past.
Yeah.
And that's a great sound, too. And I used to use that thing live, and I'll probably bring it back one of these days. It's just so uncontrollable live, you never know how it's going to respond.
In terms of what like feedback?
Feedback and just, trying to get it above the crowd and all that kind of stuff. But it's an evil, spooky sound.
It sure is, and you've replicated that nicely with it. And so with this tune, okay, I want to tell you what I picture in that song lyrically, because I've been very much into the tune and thinking about it and stuff. And then you can tell me how on or off base I am. I could be wildly off base, but regardless of that, I just want to explore it like that with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's more important what people think it's about than what it's about anyway. I can remember a lot of my favorite songwriters telling me what their songs were about, and what I thought it was about was so much cooler.
And I just had Roger Daltrey on the show just a little ways back. The Who was in town, and he spent a bunch of time with me, and he said the same thing about people interpreting some of the complicated Who records. And this is a different kind of song, however, here.
Yeah.
So in Slackjaw Jezebel, I get that the main character in the story, like the you that's singing, is singing about how he ends up letting this black widow into his life, as Stevie Nicks might have said, a gold dust woman, who in my mind is this like skinny little hippie girl temptress, who is like a mermaid, seductive yet trashy, spellbinding, and obviously a very dangerous girl. Now, how am I doing so far?
I think you're batting 1,000 so far, man.
You're an animal. I thought I was on. I thought I was on this thing, Warren. And
That's pretty much it. You know, he can't help himself. It's just too strong. Man.
And some of the lyrics in there, and something's changed. I have to admit it. I ain't been the same since you came around. I wish you'd never have flagged me down. Twisted Angel, sent down here to pull me out of my shell. Is that what you say there?
Yeah, in the first chorus. Yeah.
That is what you say?
Yeah.
So, okay, so my questions, I got a lot of questions, seeing how I was right about this one.
Right on it.
Is this an actual...
maybe that happened to you, Dave.
It actually did, Warren, and much more recently than I'd even want to admit.
Gotcha. All right.
And so, is this an actual person that existed in your life? Can you say that?
I conjured up a combination. You know, I love to do that when I'm writing songs, is create a character based on a composite of a lot of different characters and put them all together, because I feel like it's stronger that way. You can cover more ground, and you know, a lot of writers tend to do that. It's not like I'm doing anything unique, but she's a composite of a lot of people.
Okay, so that's important to know. But it sounds like in this composite, so one of the influences that this Slackjaw Jezebel had was you came away from it a changed person.
Not so much for the better.
Not so much for the better. and so the person was like a sinful indulgence that you never should have done.
Yeah, you know, we've all fallen for that person that we knew was wrong, but it just felt too good, so you couldn't stop, you know. It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah, I couldn't have stopped you if I tried. Spell you were casting way too heavy. It's remarkable. And another one that I really love, because it's what we have here with the song, and again, this is Warren Haynes from Government Mule, Allman Brothers Band and the Dead on the Workforce Afternoon with me. What we have here in the song is it's like a story. It goes from one point to another, for me at least. And part of what gives it that movement, Warren, is the part in the end. You're like, I wonder how I got myself in, wheels spinning faster, and I know I got to jump off. So it's like, you figured out you had to cut this demon loose. Yeah,
pretty much. You know, you reach that point where, you know, whatever it takes, you got to get the hell out.
Listen to my man. It's an amazing song, and I think.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. It's and I think it's one of those songs, Warren. It has that ability, as you pointed out a couple of things. One, I mean, you're singing about stuff that a lot of people have been through things, parts of what you've just said they've been through, or they've been through the whole story.
Oh yeah.
Or different elements of it ring true for folks. And then the other thing that you said that was enlightening is, the genius of the song is it's a composite. It is not one person that you went through an experience with, yet you've drawn together these various elements that create a person that, when, as a listener, you get sucked right into it.
Well, on the road, you get a lot of characters. You know, you see a lot of characters that you can utilize in these story type songs. And as you know, I write a lot of story type lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of my lyrics tend to be that way, and so the road's a good place to conjure up those images, you know.
And it is a seductive little skin and bones, I think you call it, hippie girl person, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Man, it's what a crazy moment this is.
Very perceptive of you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Well,
but like I say, maybe we're a little too close to the bone for you there.
Well, you know, I've been admiring your work for I'm scared to say like a decade and a half almost now, and so I listened to it pretty closely. And when I had this song and we were first starting to play it here, and I was listening to those words, I said, "Listen to Warren here. Not only is this a catchy song, but I think this is one that a lot of people are going to relate to." And with that in mind, Warren, let me throw that one down, and then we'll come back and talk some more. Is that cool?
You got it.
You're the man. Government Mule, Allman Brothers Band, the Dead, guitarist, vocalist Warren Haynes is my guest, and from Government Mule's latest CD, Deja Voodoo, the song we've been talking about, Slackjaw Jezebel. It's a current classic on KPOI 105.9, The Big Kahuna. KPOI 105.9, The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock, the Workforce Afternoon. Dave Lawrence with you. And that is a current classic from Government Mule's Deja Voodoo CD, out now. And Slackjaw Jezebel, the title, a powerful story. about letting I guess you'd say, a very dangerous thrill ride of a woman into your life and having to boot that spellcasting heartbreaker right out. Amazingly true life stuff. And Warren Haynes of Government Mule, the Allman Brothers Band, and The Dead, my special guest, whose music it is. It's a fine piece of work, Warren. I appreciate you hanging in there with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. And when I first got to meet you, it was you were working the Fire in the Kitchen tune, and remember that back in the...
Absolutely, 93.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, 92, 93 era, and you were doing the Warren Haynes Band, and you had a very cool keyboardist from that era, and now sounding dynamite, I might add, on Slackjaw Jezebel and throughout the record, as a member of the Mule, Danny Lewis.
Yeah, Danny goes way back with me, and he's just been a close associate of Government Mule pretty much throughout our career. Alan Woody loved Danny, loved playing with him, loved him as a person, and we were just really tight. You know, there was a period of time when Government Mule was opening for the Allman Brothers, and I had my own bus, and Woody would ride our bus, and we just always had a blast, you know. And so, of all the times through the years that Danny sat in and played keyboards with us, when Woody passed away, Matt and I made the decision that it was time to move forward and add keyboards and no longer be trying to compete with the original three-piece chemistry that the three of us had come up with. And I think it was the right decision, or I know it was the right decision, and Danny's done a tremendous job, and it's great to have him back in the fold, so to speak.
He's such a great guy, a real character. I was lucky enough to spend a whole bunch of time back when that Warren Haynes Band was doing what you were saying, was opening up for the Brothers. Back in like summer of '93, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And he was just the kindest person, really fun to hang out with and spend time with. And he has some great sounds on the record. I'm just curious. You explained how your vocals on Slackjaw Jezebel acquire the sound they do. His keyboards on there seem to have as well something special with the way that the organist sound. Is there something unusual the way the miking of that was done? Or
he's got on Slackjaw, he's got an old clavinet run through a wah-wah pedal into an amplifier, probably an old Fender amplifier, and it just has this just real nasty kind of sound. And then the organ on some of the tracks, on some of it, you know, some of the album we use the organ just traditional through a regular Leslie, like most people are used to hearing it. Mm-hmm. But on a few tracks we ran it through like a Marshall amplifier that gives it more of that kind of deep purple, grungy, early psychedelic sound.
Yeah, yeah, Uriah Heepish kind of, or something.
And that's not a sound a lot of people use these days, and it's one that is very welcome in rock and roll music.
Yeah, well, you do that a lot, I think. It's whether it's going to be on the keyboard sound or with your guitar, whether it's like the envelope filter or that other, that effect thing you use that makes your guitar sound like an organ. What's that?
Leslie Simulator, which is, you know, all those sounds kind of just harken us back to music that we love, you know. And when since Government Mule started as a trio, I needed all the help I could get effects-wise, you know, because in a small band you need to cover as much sonic territory as possible.
Sure.
But now that Danny's joined the band, I find myself using a little fewer effects, but still utilizing them. And between him and Andy, they've just really kind of brought the band back to a place that Matt and I were uncertain we would ever reach again. I mean, everybody feels wonderful about where the music is right now.
That's awesome, man, and I'm really happy to hear that. When I think about your life, it seems like it might be tough juggling. You're doing 3 big projects now. Is it difficult finding the time that you want to put into each of them?
Well, it's a lot of scheduling for sure. My year started out with Government Mule in January, February. In March, I was doing the Allman Brothers. In April, I had a little bit of time off. In May, rehearsing with the Dead. June started Bonnaroo, which was the Dead tour. Mm-hmm. That went right up to the Allman Brothers tour. And then at the end of that tour, back to the Dead, back to the Allman Brothers, and here I am now. Here we are in September. Then I rehearse a few days with Government Mule and go out on the road to promote Deja Voodoo. So it's been one of those years, probably the most busy year of my life. but where I'm just constantly going from one thing to the next. But, to have these kind of choices and turn them down would be the foolish part, I think,
Nice.
Everybody asks me about it, but it's like when you think about it, you have to take advantage of situations, especially in a business like the music business. You got to do it while it's there, because you never know when the tides are going to turn, when the wind's going to change directions.
I remember going in a van with you, taking you to the airport in '93, in like March of '93, and this was like Brothers time, and you were talking about. We were talking about the Dead and the Brothers, and wouldn't it? Because we were talking about it because it was coming up on the anniversary. It would be 20 years since Watkins Glen, I guess, is how the discussion came around. And I remember it's surreal to remember that conversation now, because we were talking about would the Brothers and the Dead play together and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and now
it finally happened.
Yeah,
we did the Gorge in Washington State. The Allman Brothers and the Dead together for the first time since then.
Yeah.
And here I am in both bands.
It's crazy.
So I'm playing like 6 hours.
It's insane, man. I mean, it's we talked about that one show that you're talking about, the one in Washington State, and just it's crazy that you're in that. How was the Wave That Flag tour? Is there a favorite venue that now that when you look back on it?
Well, the Gorge is beautiful. Red Rocks is always a highlight. It rained a lot at Red Rocks this year, so that made it a little tougher. But the crowd amazingly stays there, and the tour in general was really good. Bonnaroo was exceptional. It was a very cool tour, and I thought the band played some amazing music.
So Bonnaroo, the Gorge, and Red Rocks are the highlights, it sounds like.
Well, those are three that leap to mind.
Out.
I don't know that those are necessarily the best shows we played, but three beautiful places to play.
5 nights at Red Rocks, too, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. Being there for a week was really cool, and a few of those nights were very special. I thought the Gorge was a really good Dead show. And some of the last few shows, the last one in Atlanta was really good. Charlotte was really good. There were a lot of great shows, but in a band like that, it changes more on a nightly basis. Most bands, you go see them, they do the same show every night. Of course, the Dead do a completely different show every night.
Yeah, big time.
And we did 5 nights at Red Rocks and repeated one song out of 5 shows.
Nice.
And that's playing 3.5 hours a night. So, it's a pretty amazing repertoire of material.
Yeah, it is. It's cool to hear you're finally in it, getting to play it. That's what's crazy. It's after all these years, Do you have a part of the set list? Does it represent like what you want?
They alternate.
Like, how's it come up? How's the set list get done?
Well, Bob will write one night, Phil will write one night, Mickey will write one night, and then the new guys, which is me and Jeff and Jimmy, would write one night. And Jimmy wasn't really totally psyched about it. He didn't always feel like he needed to be part of it, but Jeff and I were really into it, and Billy doesn't really care either. So it was mostly that, Bob, Phil, Mickey, and then me and Jeff. But everybody has input, if they want to play a certain song or something like that, But it's interesting to see how differently each person's set lists are, and the reasoning behind them. Bob's sets are way different than Phil's sets, and Mickey's sets are way different than either one of them.
That's cool, and that's a neat flavor then that fans get out of it, and obviously your contributions are gonna bring something different to the table. I have not kept track of set lists like I used to when I was younger. Do you sing any other Brent tunes besides Just a Little Light? Is that the only one of his?
I do Tons of Steel.
Oh, okay.
And but I've found myself doing mostly the Garcia stuff now. We added back to the set. We've been doing Death Don't Have No Mercy, and I think I remember hearing some versions of that where Jerry would sing and then Brent would sing too.
Okay.
But I've been fortunate to sing a lot of the cool Garcia Hunter ballads.
Yeah, my brother saw a bunch of shows. He filled me in that you were doing a bunch of the Jerrys, and that's happening. And I just expect those to be in the set. I guess the Brent things are sort of an underground kind of cult favorite treat. Yeah,
it's good to bring those songs back, and I wouldn't mind doing more of those. Phil had pointed out when I first started working with him that Brent's voice and my voice are somewhat similar, you know.
Yep, yeah, that's
you know, and we're doing a lot of the old Pigpen stuff that I'm singing as well, which is cool because a lot of that stuff hadn't been played for a long, long, long time.
Nah, it's cool, man. It's good of you. It's good to keep all those guys out there and keeping their music alive. But I give you my personal thank you for keeping the Brent Midland stuff out there.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That's appreciated. Or just a couple more questions. I'll wrap this up with you, Warren. Are the Dead doing New Year's Eve? Or what are you going to do for New Year's with these?
Now, the Dead are going to take New Year's off. Government Mule, it looks like at the Beacon Theater in New York.
Oh, cool. So that's how you're going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's completely confirmed, but that's looking more and more likely.
Okay.
That's what we love. You know, we love doing New York for New Year's, and of course, there's a lot of great cities that we love playing in, but it's almost become a tradition recently for us to do the Beacon.
Well, we've been enjoying the recent One Way Out record, which has been a hit here, and people love the Midnight Rider from that. Is that designed to replicate an ABB set from that 13-night Beacon run?
It's just between two nights.
Mm-hmm.
We only recorded and filmed 2 nights, and so we went through, myself and Michael Barbiero, the two of us co-produced the live record and the live DVD, and we went through all the selections from those 2 nights and just picked the highlights and put together a mock set, you know, what would be a set, but maybe even a little longer. And the cool thing about it to me is that if you have the DVD and if you have the live album, there's different versions. Like there's different versions of Dreams. There's one on the DVD that's different than the CD, and the same with Statesboro Blues, and the same with Whipping Post. A lot of the key songs, you get 2 different versions if you have both.
That's happening.
I think there's like 6 performances that are different between the 2.
It is a remarkable 2 CD set. It is great to hear those versions. It's so fresh, and as I've said, people really have gravitated towards them out here. They've been popular.
Well, both of the CD and the live DVD turned out wonderful, and the same guy that did the Government Mule live DVD, The Deepest End, did the Allman Brothers as well, and he did a wonderful job. The director, the DVD director, and the Allman Brothers are just in a really good place right now. The band sounds amazing. Everybody's getting along great. There's a lot of new material. It's just refreshing to see a band that's been around that long feeling as vital and revitalized as they are and we are.
You guys are kicking ass, man. You're good. You got all kinds of good stuff going on, Warren. It's crazy.
Well, I feel blessed every day. You know, I mean, and believe me, you know, the question that people ask the most is how do you go back and forth? And I think that's the easy part. About the time I would start to get burnt out on one thing, then I have something else to do, and that kind of recharges me and keeps me from getting bogged down in any of it, you know.
And you're in one of those sort of like music industry power kind of relationships as well, where your wife Stephanie is like a powerful manager. So
yeah, and she really deserves a lot of the credit for juggling the schedules and making a lot of this stuff work. A lot of it I would have given up on. When the Dead came to me and said, "We want you to join up with us," I was like, well, I don't know if I have time to do it. And Steph was like, yeah, we can make it work. Let's just take it one step at a time, you know.
That's good of her. And I got to ask you, since I do have you here, what's the deal with these? Because I know she's managing Chris Robinson, right?
Uh-huh.
I hear these rumors that there's going to be a reunion with Rich and potentially using Mule musicians to fill out like a Crows thing. Is there anything to that, Warren?
No, I think Rich and Chris are talking about maybe getting back together, but that's as far as it's gotten. I think there's been no talk with Mule being part of it.
Okay, because that was just a buzz that I was hearing. So you've separated that, but there is talk of those two maybe doing something, huh?
Yeah.
That would be happening. And Warren, finally, no more questions, but I do want to just put a bug in your or an idea, a light bulb, something into your head. I'd love to have a gig out here with one of your 3 projects in Hawaii.
Hey, we love it. Government Mule especially would love to come. You know, we're looking forward to it. We've only played one show in Hawaii ever, and it was a blast, and we'd love to come back.
Let's get the Mule here then. Let's work on that project. That
I'm
would
ready.
be the one, and then I can experience Slackjaw Jezebel live and in person.
Absolutely. I'm ready for it.
In the safety of a song, that is. Thanks to the great Warren Haynes of Government Mule, the Allman Brothers Band, and the Dead for being my guest. Deja Voodoo is the new CD. Look for it and listen for the provocative single, Slackjaw Jezebel, here on the air. Mule.net has more information. That's Mule.net. And it has been a pleasure having you back on my show on KPOI 105.9, The Big Kahuna, Warren. A big mahalo.
Good to talk to you.
And a huge aloha to you.
You too, brother. Hey, this is Warren Haynes of Government Mule, the Allman Brothers Band, and the Dead, and you're listening to the Workforce Afternoon with my good friend Dave Lawrence.